Hello and welcome to episode 110 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey and joining me today are absolutely no one. No one. I am a solo man band today. We knew that Phil wasn't going to be here. Phil's away. I think he's been in Las Vegas. He's been enjoying himself, living the high life, all that kind of stuff. I've been stuck here in the UK, just keeping it down, keeping the economy going as a one-man band. And I was supposed to be joined by Spencer, but he seems to be DOA, dead on arrival, for all those that don't know military. So we're doing something very different that's never happened across 110 episodes of In PS We Trust, in that I'm going to try and do this on my own. Yeah, we will see how that goes. But what have we got in store for you today? Well, seeing as the fact I'm on my own, it's going to be a different kind of feel. You may even come out of this the other side, audience, and you may think to yourself, bloody hell, one-man band show was probably the best moment of my entire life. And that may well be the case. If it is, then apologies in advance to the rest of the boys, because they're obviously just anchors to me. They're weighing me down. And maybe they're keeping me level. Maybe there is that. Maybe my humility needs to be kept in check, Maybe that is the case. But we will see by the end of this. And what do we have in store? Well, we've got a kind of typical run of the show. I'm going to try and keep things moving at a brisk pace. So we're not going to do an intro question because obviously I can't ask myself a question that I already know the answer to or my own opinion on. I mean, that's just going to be a bit redundant. But I am going to run you through what I've been playing very quickly. I'm not going to take too long on it. But I'll give you just some updates on a couple of little things. And then we're going to dive into the news. And normally we have quick news, which obviously when it was first invented was quick, right? We used to do quick news in like 15 minutes, something like that. And it just it kind of felt like we were just running the kind of numbers on it. It was like, it wasn't really that interesting. We were kind of just reading out news titles and being like, oh, that sounds cool, brilliant. And as the show kind of evolved over 100 odd episodes, we started going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And now quick news is just the opposite of that, right? And that's kind of by design. So it's kind of taking the piss in the name itself. But I am going to run you through the news. And today's news is nuts. So instead of being quick news, it's going to be big news. It's just ridiculous. There's so much to go through. And what I'll do is I'll do my best to give you my kind of thoughts and feelings and opinions as we go through it. And that is going to be the show. So there's not going to be a topic because we normally break the news down into 2 pieces to 3 pieces each. And instead, I've got like 10 odd pieces of news here. So we're literally just going to go into what we've been playing, then move it straight into the news, which then will bring the show to a close. So it's going to be a very different style. And apologies, listener, that we're in this situation today where you are just in my very, or hopefully capable hands. We will see how this goes. We're going to learn and grow as people together during this. But without any further ado, let's bring it on to what we've been playing.
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
So guys, it is just me again. I don't know why I'm doing this. I honestly, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Like what do I even say as like an intro anymore? But I mean, everything, all my normal flow, my cadence is destroyed, thrown to the wind. It's like being Thanos snapped, and I'm just left there, like Peter Parker was. Spoilers for Infinity War, where right at the end we know something's wrong. Spider sense is kicking in, it's going crazy. He's like, oh god, this is wrong, and he's like, Mrs. Stark, and then he just like falls apart and dusts. Right. Well, that may happen here. And it has happened, I suppose, with this introduction. So what have I been up to? Well, audience, you remember on the last episode, I was talking a lot about Bloober Rage. And when I listened back to it, and it felt like this when I recorded it, I was kind of all over the place in how I was feeling about it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be something that really stuck the landing, or if I was going to come out the other side and feel like, Jesus Christ, I wasted my time. Well, after I recorded the last show, I had about an hour to play until I finished part 1, because obviously with Bloober Rage, as we know, it's split into 2 parts, so 2 separate tapes. Tape 1 came out in February, and then tape 2 comes out in April. And yeah, it didn't stick the landing. It just really didn't. Now, there may well be, and I've got to recheck myself on this, and I'm not going to spoil it, so don't worry. I think there's something to. I think there's something to this, me being a male. And that might sound weird, right? But you're playing as a group of 16-year-old girls in the 90s. Now, I grew up in the 90s. I wasn't 16 in the 90s. The max age I was 11. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But I think it being girls and the things like, slumber parties and all that stuff, maybe I can't relate to it. Maybe there's something there that I'm not grabbing and is not getting me on a deeper emotional level and feeling nostalgic that otherwise maybe it would be if they were climbing trees and shit like that I was doing in the 90s, I don't know. There is that potential. But all I would say is that tape one, throughout the entire thing, didn't really feel like it was going anywhere. It was moving at a snail's pace. And as it moved through the different kind of chapters, I honestly thought about putting it down a handful of times, and I was checking my phone all the time, which is never a good sign of, a video game grabbing your attention. When I got to the end of, I think it's the 4th chapter, I think it ends on the 5th chapter, if memory serves, it's been a number of weeks now. When I finished that, there was like this kind of, not so much a revelation, but there was something that happened that is going to be pivotal for the plot going forward. And it was the first kind of time that something had that effect throughout the game. And bearing in mind, I was like 4 hours in at that point. And so I thought, right, well, it's going to build from here. There's going to be more of this show now and how this impacts the future timeline, because it's set. The basic premise for those that don't remember is that you're meeting up with a friend that you haven't seen since the summer of the 90s, 1996, whatever it is. You're meeting up with your friend and you're reminiscing about the past because you've got this memory blank and you just can't recall what's gone on. And so you're kind of sitting there running back through different events to try and spur your memories on between you both and kind of fill in those blanks, right? And so I thought, right, well, after this kind of revelation-y moment, this kind of like plot pivotal point, it's going to then flash forward and the story's going to move, right? They've received this package and they're thinking, oh, what's in it? Well, should we open the box? For some reason, they're sitting there for hours and just haven't opened the fucking box. It could be nothing, right? This whole mystery is around this package that was delivered to one of the members of this band that they formed back in that summer called Bloom Rage. And at any point, they could just open this package and find out what it is. At any point. But I guess that's the MacGuffin, right? That's the kind of thing that the literary device to bring you along this journey, oh, what? It's a mystery. What's in the box? Is it going to be like a Seven situation, be a severed head? Is it going to be an old parking fine from when they left a car somewhere? Who knows, right? Who knows? And I thought maybe we're going to get to the point where maybe that box opens and there's something crazy. There's something going on. But no, it just turns out there's something that happened to one of the characters and they've got something. And I don't want to spoil it. I might just spoil it. Do you want me to spoil it? Tell you what, I'm going to give you fast forward a minute from here if you don't want to know. I'm going to spoil it in 3, 2, 1. She has leukemia. One of the characters. Okay. It's like, yeah, that sucks, man. Like, yeah, that's grim. But I don't really have that emotional connection to this character yet. Like, it was doing a lot of groundwork to try and make me emotional, but she was the one I cared the least about. So, and this sounds grim, right? Somebody who's got leukemia to then be like, do you know what? I don't really give two fucks that you got leukemia. But I don't. I really didn't give two shits. And it kind of just, it didn't hit me in the way that, like, maybe if I'd been a girl in the 90s and could reminisce and imagine my friends, having this disease, maybe that could have impacted me a little bit more. But I just thought, oh, all right, okay. That's something. I don't know what's happened to the box. I don't know any of this stuff, right? I still don't know. And now I'm in two minds. because tape 2 surely will be better than tape 1. Like, it can't get much worse. But what if it does? You know? Like, what if I've just wasted 5 hours of my time that I could have been catching up on Silent Hill 2 or any of the games from last year that I haven't got around to playing yet? Instead, I've wasted 5 hours on tape 1 and potentially won't see that pay off. It's like when you watch The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is great, season 1, right? Fantastic. Season 2, pretty shit, but you kind of go through it because you want to see kind of what happens in the barn and all that stuff, right? And you kind of keep it on going. You're like, oh, it's only another hour. It's only another hour of shit TV when nothing happens until the last 2 seconds. And then, oh my God, can't wait till the next episode. And then nothing's going to happen for 58 minutes, but those final 2 minutes going to be class. There's only so long you can do that for. And I feel like I'm in that situation where I've invested so much time now, I might as well see it through. But if they don't pull it off, I'm going to be fucking raging. So what I would say is, audience, if I was you, learn from me and just don't even bother. That's what I would say. Just don't bother, because now I've wasted so much time, I might as well see it through. Whereas you could have saved that time and done something better with your life. You know, you could have gone out and learned to cook a new meal. You could have gone out and taken that long walk with your significant other that you've always dreamed of doing. Whatever it is, right? You could sit there and just jack it a couple of times. Whatever you want to do, it's going to be better than sitting down and playing Bloober Rage. So overall, I'm going to give my rating on this. We work on a 10. I don't even know what the scale is. It's out of 10, but we can go anywhere in that, like a 9.5, 9.7, whatever it is, right? I'm going to probably give this a 4 out of 10 at the moment. Like, I didn't really enjoy it, and it was full of performance woes, which I spoke about in the last episode. So I would say avoid at the moment, and maybe I'll walk this back when I play tape 2, but we'll wait and see. Following on from that, the only other thing I've been playing, because I've been just playing a shitload of Street Fighter, is I've been playing RoboCop. So on the store on PSN, they had a sale on, and RoboCop was in there. And this came out like a couple of years ago, and I looked at it. I remember reporting it on the show, saying like how hype this is going to be, right? I just never picked it up. And I managed to get it for like 85% off on the store. So it was something like £8. And I had like 2,500 PS Stars points. So I just got it essentially for free. And I've been playing that, and do you know what? It's fun as hell. It's super fun. It's proper mindless. If you're a fan of RoboCop, I thoroughly recommend it. And even if you're not, there's something here, right? Like, it's a good-looking game for the most part. There are some weird performance issues with it. Like, it seems to have this weird screen clipping that seems to happen, like a texture kind of bug that happens between every single scene transition. But apart from that, it's pretty fucking cool. And I mean, like, when you're walking around as RoboCop getting shot at by a load of guys, and you're putting on your targeting, and the like reticles kind of moving across the screen, and the music of RoboCop's blaring the theme, it's fucking hard not to feel fucking fully erect. And I think that's all it needed to do, you know? I'll see where the story builds and where it goes some very, very early days, but I'm enjoying my time with it. And I think if you can find it for a steal, and get it for like, 15 quid or less, I'd recommend it. I really would. It's really, really fun. But I'll bring more on that on the next episode. And that is literally it for playing for me. I got a load of games that I've kind of like got into a little bit, but nothing I really want to report on at this stage. I think by next episode, I may be able to give you the highly anticipated update for Frogs. Or Fox, whatever it is. That game where your 2 dogs join together. Me and my son have been playing it, and it's fun. So maybe I'll be able to give you an update on that and see the stresses and fun that come with playing a video game with a 6-year-old, because we've been having a right laugh, just where one of us is stretching the other way, and then he's saying to me, "No, Daddy, you're doing this wrong." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I understand game design a bit more than you. You don't know what you're doing. You can't jump up there. There's no jump button." It's been moments like that, but I'll be able to give you a bit more insight into that whole kerfuffle on the next episode. But with that, let's move it on to the big news. Quick news. And so, here we are at the big news. Now, as you all know, we normally do different impressions, different things like that. I'm not going to be doing anything like that. All that's going to happen is, as a result of this news today, is that yours truly is not getting a shot in the dock. But for the two people that just couldn't show up, that just wouldn't be here when the time was right. You know, like when you see a movie and, like on, keeping with the Avengers theme from earlier, on Endgame, with Cap standing there on his own, and he's just suiting up, he's just like putting the broken shield back on his arm, and he's like looking down, he's all like ashy, and he's like fucked up, right? And all the army of Thanos come across. And then you hear like, on your left, or whatever, and all these portals start opening up, right? And everyone starts coming through. I'm waiting for that moment to happen to me right now, and for Spence or someone to drop in. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's just going to be me against the hordes of Thanos' goons. And I ain't winning, you know? And audience, you're there with me, coming down, sinking on the ship. But maybe I'm being a bit pessimistic. Maybe I am. Maybe today's going to be the best thing ever. And the point I was getting to is that there's a punishment for these fuckers, right? Who just couldn't show up, who wouldn't be on my left. And that is they're getting a shot in the dock. And we are recording the big quiz part of episode 111 this Friday at my house. And I'm in charge of the shots and docks. Shots and docks? Shots and bets and shots? I don't even know what we call it. The document that like lists everything in terms of who's owed what and how many they owe, etc. and so on. Jeff Grubb's totals, all that jazz. I run that. I run that shit. You best believe they're getting some shots in the dock. But let's move it on to the first piece of news. Now, the first piece, and I'm not going to punish myself for this because the button is off, okay? Resident Evil has a new movie in the works. That was my tumbleweed. And the reason for that is because, as I've stated millions of times, and if any of you have any sense, you would know why I feel this way. The Resident Evil movies suck ass in every single metric. You know, even from just an enjoyment level, they're a fucking slog, right? They're just not that great. And we're getting a new one. So this is releasing in theaters September 18th, 2026. Now, there is some glimmer of sunshine shining down, breaking through the clouds. You know, those kind of God rays, you know? There was a tiny bit of that because Zach Kreger, who from Barbarian fame, is writing and directing this. And what their kind of press blurb is that they're going to take the franchise to its horror roots and be more faithful to the initial games. How many fucking times we heard that? I think I've heard that every single time there's a new Resident Evil kind of like reboot in the works. And the last thing we had was that Leon was an absolute klutz. It's just like, oh, please God, get it right. Just get it right. And the issue is, I don't even know how they can get it right. Because let's be real, Resident Evil, especially if you're doing number one, you can make it like a kind of mystery in terms of like what caused this, what's going on in this mansion. This mansion's crazy. Like, you can do that. But I don't have the skill to be able to envision how that would work. Because Resident Evil is a puzzle game, right? Like, predominantly it's a puzzle game. I don't get why they're so keen to bring this to movies. I just don't get it. Like, there's much better franchises that would make really good movies or TV. Resident Evil story ain't the best. There's stuff there, there's source, but how you transition that from written notes to the big screen, I don't know. Now, there is one little nugget here as well, is that PlayStation Productions are producing this, and they got a pretty good track record on the likes of The Last of Us. So, hey, we'll see. The one thing about it is that it can't get worse than Welcome to Raccoon City. It just can't get worse than that. So it's going to be better. It's physically impossible to be worse than that fucking dumpster fire of a movie. But will they finally get it right? My experience would tell me no. Hey, we live in watered down hope. Let's put it that way. Now, speaking of watered down hope, there's a new Battlefield in the works. Now, this isn't news to anyone, and there's been so many leaks coming out from EA. It's absolutely obnoxious. But, and normally this wouldn't even get in the show, but there's an alpha, a closed alpha that's been going on the past few weeks. I wasn't lucky enough to get involved into it. God, I wish I was. It looks fucking fantastic. It looks so good. And what I'll do is I'll remember, and because I'm doing this all myself, I will remember to do this. I'll put a collection of tweets that have different footage that people have captured from the alpha, which they shouldn't have done, because they all sign like NDAs and stuff like that, but they've just thought, fuck it, I'm putting it up anyway. I'll put those collection of tweets down in the article, because this looks like a return to form. And my experience with Battlefield was always one that I came in on Battlefield 3. I think that's the one that got me, even after everyone was like raving about it with Bad Company and stuff like that. 3's when I got involved, and I fucking loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. Played the absolute shit out of it. And that was my thing. You know, like, I went onto COD and I was playing like Modern Warfare 4, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, things like that, right? Like, I was moved along the COD trajectory that way. But then I just had Battlefield there, and I preferred more the kind of teamwork style of combat, rather than, which Battlefield provides, rather than the lone gun, lone kind of wolf, you know, like going through and getting your kill streaks and stuff. And I really kind of enjoyed that, and that kind of storytelling that can happen across a map on a Battlefield game, where some of the best moments are just those moments where you're with your squad and you're holding down, you know, an amazing line of sight, fucking everyone up, and then you just see a tank, you know, like kind of crest the battlefield, and you think, oh my God. And everyone kind of scatters, and it's like how you work together then to be able to take that out. And it's those kind of moment-to-moment gameplay moments that games always promise but very rarely deliver. And Battlefield, when it's done right, can do it super, super well. Now, this new Battlefield, from what I've heard, is going back to the style of Battlefield from Battlefield 3 and 4. And to me, that is a huge, huge welcome bit of news. It's, from what I understand, is that the different classes that you have in Battlefield, so you always have like a medic, an engineer, and then like a recon class. There may be others, but those are the three that I remember. And each one has its own weapons that are tied to that class. So I normally play medic, and so with medic you normally have like an assault rifle, pistol, and you get like in some games it's like a syringe, in others it's like a little zapper, to be able to bring squad mates back as long as they haven't been shot in the head. So if you're like shot, you'll go down, it's like a wounded phase, and you can go up and heal them, get back in the action, and that gives you points, right? So you're like rewarded for keeping your boys alive. And I love that. I absolutely love that role. Later ones, what would happen is that you can kind of mix and match any kind of weapons you want into those individual classes. So it kind of diluted some of the kind of class distinction that was there. And I really like this, that they're going back to what worked. I mean, this is the thing that the games do kind of semi-often, really, is that they'll move away from what was there, but they'll kind of break what made it so special and what made it work really, really well. And it kind of loses a bit of itself. So seeing it kind of course correct and go back is really, really welcome news for me, especially with some of the destructibility that I'm seeing in the environments at the moment. Obviously, Battlefield's really, really famous for its destructible environments, and for, like just putting a tank through a building or, whatever it is, right? Destroying someone's cover and just ruining them. Or seeing like skyscrapers collapse or, a giant wave coming out of nowhere and destroy a city. Those kind of things are Battlefield kind of hallmarks. And that all seems to be returning here. Obviously watered down, whereas I don't think they're going to be having like the same level of, map changing destruction that happened with some of the crazy Battlefields over time, where there was like, a massive weather event or whatever. It's like something out of fucking Motorstorm Apocalypse. They're not doing that. It seems to be just stripping it down to its root, and I really, really like that approach. The thing that made me pop off, and the reason why I've actually got it here, is because as the medic class, you can now drag someone. So if someone's downed and they're in like a really precarious place, you can go up and just pull your boy out and drag him around the corner and heal him. It's one of those things that like you wonder why it's not being in games more. It's like where I was explaining this to Karen the other day on The Last of Us 2 trailer when that first went up, right? Not for the series, for the game. The thing that blew people's minds was moving through the environment. So having like two like bookcases with like a gap in the middle and squidging through. And that blew people's fucking minds. Now that kind of environmental movement is kind of to be expected, right? Like you would expect that you should be able to do that. But it was like such a game changer when that was there. It's these small little things that you think, oh my God, yeah, how did we live life before this? And sure, dragging people's not new, right? It's been in games before, but seeing it in Battlefield like this just gets me really excited. Like really, really excited. So keep an eye on this. I'm really looking forward to when we get to the Summer Game Fest, which surely is going to be there, right? Summer Game Show that Jeff Keighley does. And we're going to see more of this. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting in and playing some like betas or whatever it is and seeing how it feels. See if they've really captured that Battlefield grit that I love the series for. We'll wait and see, but I'm looking hopeful. The big thing with Battlefield is always performance, right? Like, 2042 when that came out, it just didn't really work. So there is always the potential that they could do everything right and then they just fuck the delivery. We'll wait and see. But right now, I would encourage you guys, check out the link of tweets that I put together. I think I put like 5. Go in, it's in the description of the show. Have a look, fill your boots. There's some good stuff in here, and yeah, can't wait to see more. Now, the biggest piece of news from the last couple of weeks is obviously, or in my opinion, is the Death Stranding 2 South by Southwest panel that happened, where there was the release date announcement and there was a massive trailer that was shown. Now, I am waiting until Mr. Philippoy is here to talk about it. I could go into it and give you my full thoughts, right? Just spend ages talking about Battlefield. But I want to be able to riff on it with Phil. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So I'm sorry, listeners, you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks for that. Phil and hopefully Spencer will be on the next episode of the show. So stay tuned and we'll really, really unpack it. I know it'll be old news by then, but some things are worth waiting for, aren't they? And surely, you could sit there, you could think, God, I've waited so long. I've been edging for days, weeks, even months. And we're going to fucking deliver. You're going to have the best fucking eruption you've ever had. Promise. Next episode. Probably make it a topic. And so, with that kind of bombshell, I got a couple of quick fire things. I'm not going to spend too long on these, but I think they're quite interesting. So, the first is that Sony's formed a brand new first-party studio, which is Dark Outlaw Games. Right now, new studio announcements, I think they're kind of meh, right? Like, how much is there to talk about when it's a brand new acquisition? It depends, right? Like, if it's something like Bungie, you can go off quite a bit, because what does that mean for the future, right? Like, there's a lot of pedigree there. with this is a brand new studio, and sure, it is fully first party, but I mean, all that comes at the end of it is like, oh, well, we'll just wait and see, and we'll see something in 5 years, right? Which is all that this is going to be. That's all I'm really going to come back to and say. But what is interesting is that it's headed by Treyarch co-founder and Cold Zombies lead, Jason Blundell. He says that we've been working away in the shadows for a while. When we got something to talk about, we'll step out into the light. Now, the rumor mill's been going nuts on this. The rumor mill saying that this is a existing IP that they're working on. And so all I've seen people online saying like, SOCOM's coming back, fucking bring back SOCOM. I'm not going to get into too much speculation here, right? Is it Resistance? I fucking hope so. My money would probably be on SOCOM too, to be fair. I think it makes sense, right? We spoke about loads of times in the past before that SOCOM should get a revival, that it would work just as it did before back on PS3. And it's a shame that, Zipper and all those guys and everyone kind of working on it at the time got shut down and put to bed thanks to the PlayStation Network outage. But I'm not going to spend too long on it. I think it's one of those things of, we'll wait and see. And we've been ripped apart. Or I think I've just been a bit dismayed because, we've had like Fair Games announced, not really shown. We had the whole issue with Concord. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait and just see what comes up. But audience, if you've got any ideas about what Dark Outlaw Games could be working on, especially if it is an existing IP, then just let me know. Write into the email ps3trust@gmail.com or hit me up on the Twitters, which are all in the links in the description of the show. And the other bit of quickfire news is that Sony has expanded the PS Portal cloud streaming with PlayStation Classics. Now, I fucking love my PlayStation Portal. Like, I've gone from it's been such a weird turnaround for me, this. Because I started off and I was vehemently against it. I hated the PlayStation Portal with a passion. I thought, like, what's the point in having this device that I can't even play stuff locally on? I have to play through Wi-Fi. Got to hope for the best that that it works, right? That I've got internet wherever I am. But what I found in reality is that it's really useful just to be able to pull it out and play it. And I mostly now, the way I use mine is that I go around to my girlfriend's house. I'm not taking my PlayStation around there. But while she's pottering about doing her bits around her house and, cleaning whatever it is that she's doing, cooking, whatever, I can just pull it out. Or if she wants to watch something on TV, CSI, whatever it is, right? Or Friends rerun for the millionth time, I can sit there and just pull out the Portal and play. And it's been great. Now, the normal way to use it when you're connecting just over the internet and you're connecting to your PlayStation at home is I probably get a 70% good experience, and 30% of the time it can be a bit rough, right? Like the resolution can really drop. And we're talking, me and Karen both have like cracked internet, right? Like we got like 500 meg internet. It's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. Both on Virgin. Great, right? Well, when Virgin decides it wants to work, it's great anyway. But it's unstable, is how I would describe it. The cloud streaming that you get access to with PlayStation Premium is fucking incredible. Like, it is seamless. You cannot tell you're on it. It's so, so good. And so, with this news now that they're expanding the PS1 and PSP catalog from classics, and PS2, of course, and, all that stuff. All that good shit. All the classics coming to this. That is immense news. It's just immense. It means that if I'm just sitting there and you go on to, when you boot it up, right, the portal menu, you can either connect to your PlayStation at home on the left, and on the right, you've got then the plus for PlayStation Plus. Click into that, and there's a massive catalog as it was. Like, I played Killer Frequency straight through that game streaming service. But there's so much stuff, like more than you could ever need. And to just be able to bolster that even further, we're getting to the point where I think anybody who's on premium you'd be daft not to have a portal at this point. Like, it's so handy. And to be able to just pull it out on, when you're on a hotel Wi-Fi or anything like that, or even just connect on your phone's, mobile hotspot data as long as your phone's got signal. It works that well. Like, the cloud streaming works so well that you can have a fantastic experience with it. And so I'd encourage those that maybe you've got a portal, you haven't played it for a while, it's been sitting there gathering dust. Try it out, see for yourself. But I promise you, you will not regret going in and doing that. And I think it's probably now one of the main benefits for me of having premium is being able to access that game streaming, because it is something I won't look back on. Like, now I've experienced it, I want it all the time. And you will too. Trust me. So the next bit of news I got for you guys is something where the Lord himself has listened to me. He's looked down on me, smiled, said, "Davey, you've been a good boy." I was going to say you've been a good boy this year, like as if God's like Father Christmas, like he's Santa, where he's like, "You've been good this year, you can have this." But maybe he is, right? Maybe he works in mysterious ways, of course, as we all know. But oh God, making myself laugh is a new low. Jesus Christ. Anyway, the point is, we got news on Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves, the upcoming fighting game coming out in just over a month, and that is a second beta is incoming. Now, if you remember a few episodes ago, I was talking about how this first beta was a bit shot, that it didn't really work that well, that there was real bad network issues, that you couldn't really find games, and that the gameplay systems were really, really in depth, which meant that you wanted to be able to dig into it with a lab, but there wasn't that available. The prayers have been answered. The Lord has shined down his light and said, "Yes, my son, I will give you beta 2. Now, here's the news for it. Training mode will be available. T-Zoc has joined the playable roster, meaning there's a grand total of 9 fighters. And it runs from the 26th of March, from the day of this episode's launch, all the way up until March 31st on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, and Steam. So the characters in total are T-Zoc, Kane, Rock, Terry, Hataru, Janet, Mai, Preacher, and Vox. Ooh. Now, for me, I am really, really, really looking forward to playing this next week. Like, really can't wait. And I think most of my time isn't going to be spent playing people. It's going to be in the lab. I'm going to be getting in there with my boy Terry, with Janet, and just fucking around and just figuring out how this game really works. And I think from that, it will then guide me to be able to determine whether or not I buy this game or not. I think that's the big thing. Like, I'm so far out of Street Fighter's arse at the moment that I can't juggle 2 fighting games. So I'm going to have to make a choice. And I think having the extra time that this beta will give me will determine whether or not I then kind of abandon Street Fighter for a while, or if I just keep going the course and just trying to improve my Ryu. Well, time will tell. But as far as you, audience, even if you're remotely on the fence about this, check out the beta, right? It's lasting for a good period of time, good like 6 days. Why not? Why not? And hopefully it works better than the last one. We'll wait and see. I'll talk to you on the next episode about it. The last thing that I'm going to talk about before I bring it on to a kind of mini section within this about new game announcements is a trailer has just gone up for Silent Hill F. Now, Silent Hill F was the game that when they did that Silent Hill kind of intermission, probably a year, maybe 18 months ago, where they were sitting down and talking about all the different projects that are happening with Silent Hill on its kind of revival. Silent Hill F was shown there, and all kind of talked about there being this new, kind of brand new Silent Hill game set in Japan. And I think after the success of Silent Hill 2, I think a lot of people will be the same as me in terms of thinking that Silent Hill's back, baby. Like, we are back. And this trailer didn't change my mind. Silent Hill's fucking back, baby. We are in the fucking mix with Silent Hill. And this looked immense, right? Like the trailer itself, much like with any kind of Silent Hill, it's hard to really understand what's kind of going on, like, but having the Japanese setting and having you're playing this girl kind of walking through the town, seeing your friends, and the thing I noticed is that having that damage to her outfit over time, showing like with the arms missing on it, the back's fucked, and these kind of creatures that were horrific, right? Like absolute horrific entities. That if I was in that situation, I'd just end it there and then. Like I wouldn't want to be doing this fucking shit. I wouldn't want to be dealing with some creature that comes out and has got like fucking 17 arms. No, I'll just end it. Life's good, but a horrific death. Ain't me. That ain't me. I'd climb to either the tallest tower we got and jump off, or just fucking turn my shovel on my own head and hope to God that I mash my own brains in. Because I ain't dealing with this. There's no fight or flight with these creatures, man. Like, if you're a girl, like a little Japanese girl, who weighs about like 9 stone wet, what the fuck are you gonna do against some of these things? Turns out this girl is a fucking beast, because she's obviously got through quite a bit throughout this trailer, because her stuff is ruined. Like, as I said, her arm's off, the back of the back of her jumper's like ripped or whatever. Like, you better hope she doesn't have school tomorrow, because that's going to be a hard one to explain when she goes in with, half a jumper missing. They'll be thinking that she's trying to be provocative, or she's covered in blood and scrapes and cuts and stuff. But she just survived her own personal hell. Who was the school to judge? But no, the trailer itself I thought was fantastic. Like, really, really well done. And it provided just enough intrigue and enough visual spectacle to allay any fears about Konami and its handling of the Silent Hill IP. We'll wait and see, obviously, of course. Silent Hill's got a really patchy run record over its lifetime. But what they've shown so far is really promising. And I'm looking forward to seeing more. If you haven't seen it, I will put the link to this in the description again. Go on, have a look. And what I would say is that for the next show, if you guys have any questions or you want to kind of guide the conversation in a certain way, then especially from anything that I've kind of monologued on today, then just let me know. Write into the email pswetrust@gmail.com, or hit us up on any of the socials, because I would like to talk about this a little bit more. I think it's one of those things of, I want to know what you guys think. Are you impressed with the Silent Hill trailer, or are you not? Because if you're not, and I'm on my own on that would be quite interesting. I'd find it quite difficult to come out of this and feel any other way other than excited. The creature designs look fantastic, graphics look great, and seeing it in a Japanese setting is like such a breath of fresh air. Obviously they're Japanese. Team Silent were always Japanese publishers, and they moved kind of over the course of Silent Hill. It's moved from being like Japanese made into kind of everyone's had a go at it. Especially Bloober last with Silent Hill 2 remake, of course. So it's great to see it kind of come home in a way, even though its home is normally in Midwest America in terms of Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3. But you get what I'm saying here, right? Like, they're going back to their cultural, what the team know, like their cultural home in Japan. And it feels fresh and exciting and new. But yeah, can't wait to see more. Absolutely cannot wait to see more. And so with that, we're going to bring on to the final thing here that I'm going to run through, the final bit of news. And you might be thinking to yourself, Jesus Christ, this is the shortest show ever. It is. But hopefully every single minute of this has been that good shit, It's like when you, not to really bring it down low, but it's like when you sleep with a lady, right? You can have, and you guys know, and I'm sure this is more, probably the women know this more than the men, to be fair. You can have a fun time, and you can have a long time. If things are going on for a long time, generally, things aren't going that well, right? Like, either the feeling in there, the passion's not there. I'm not saying, like 30 seconds, chuck and hump and dump, right? Not saying that. if you're going over more than half hour, it's annoying for everyone, right? It's annoying for everyone. And that's what you're getting here on this show. You're getting that kind of, that good dick throughout it. I hope you understand my analogy here. But anyway, new game announcements. I normally wouldn't even bring these up, but there's so many and there's so many cool little things that I wanted to just cast your eye over some of these. And of course, as I'm feeling like putting things into the description today, I'm going to put some of these in the description for you as well. But there's a couple of little quick-fire ones. I'm not going to talk too long on all of them. But the ones that really speak to me, I certainly will. First off, Power Wash Simulator 2 has been announced. It's self-published by Future Lab, and it's coming 2025. Now includes split-screen co-op and online campaign progression. So all you guys like to go out there, and instead of washing your own decking in real life, maybe you can't afford a jet washer for whatever reason, you fucking brokey, you can go and do it virtually now with someone else. Cool. To be fair, it looks great. Me and the missus were talking about it while I was actually physically jet washing the other day. You know, maybe. Actually, what I was thinking is, how good would it be? And I think people would be more productive with this way. There was like some kind of AR that I could scan my wall, and while I'm pressure washing it, it could tell me the percentage that I've done. Like, I think I'd be so much more productive if I could gamify real life. I think about that quite often. You know, like, I think about this, right? My car's on the fuck. Sorry to throw off and go down a rabbit hole. But we are. Strap it. Take a lunch. Think about this in my car, right? When my car's on the fuck at the minute, so it's struggling to accelerate. It's doing my head in. If this was a game, that would never happen. Because I make sure that, like, when I was playing Pacific Drive, I cared for that car. Anytime there was a tyre that was slightly low, pumping that shit up. Making sure I got enough fuel in. Making sure that I've welded all the sides right. I'd spend ages being meticulous with looking after it. Real life, my car's been fucked for ages. And I've known it's been fucked for ages. And I've done nothing about it. And I think if I knew what it was, you know, if it was a case that I could go on, scan it with my AR glasses, and just be like, my tyre needs 4 more PSI in that. Oh, my oil's a little bit old. I need to get that changed. Oh, this, blah, 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 blah. I would be more willing to do stuff. I think that kind of unknown, it's easier to just brush it aside, right? And maybe do a half-assed job, things like that. Like, taking it back to Power Wash Simulator, if I could scan that wall, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I thought I'd done a good job here. I'm only 60%. I better, knuckle down and get scrubbing, right? Get splashing some water on this. I think, like, life would just be better. And that's what people need to do. I think someone needs to go out there, maybe one of you listeners, you can steal my idea, patent some of this technology, bring it in. It's about fucking goddamn time that I could gamify my own life. And that would be the same for fitness too. Imagine that you scan your own body and be like, oh God, maybe I shouldn't have had 4 doner kebabs last night after the sesh because my cholesterol was through the fucking roof. You'd know. It'd be sick. That and nano machines from Metal Gear Solid, those are the 2 things we need created in real life. And then maybe, if we want to really push the boat out, maybe like a med spray, like from the game that Carly mentioned. That'd be handy. Like, sorry, sir, you got stage 4 cancer. Fortunately, we've combined this green and blue herb together. Now, if you can find yourself a red herb, sir, and mix them together, you'll be absolutely set for all ailments. You'll be like, right, I've got a new goal in life. And they're like, oh, actually, funnily enough, we broke this barrel. And there was one in there alongside 10 handgun rounds. And you think, oh, thanks. Cheers, mate. That's what we need. Gamify more real life scenarios, please. Anyway, moving on from that. Control is a game that I enjoy. I wouldn't say it's great by any stretch. It's done by Remedy, so it's fine, right? It is what it is. I like it. The story is bollocks, I think. it didn't work for me, but I enjoyed the gameplay for it, right? So it's like the kind of inverse of Alan Wake. In that I like the story of Alan Wake on the first one, but the gameplay was gash, right? So it's the opposite of that. Well, there's a brand new game coming out. We knew about this for a while, called FBC Firebreak. Now the news with this, right, is that it's a FPS co-op action game, so like PvE stuff, and it's coming straight into the PlayStation Plus service this year. So only a couple of months to wait. I'll pull up the full thing now just so I can refresh my memory as I'm looking at it. So here's the rub on Firebreak, right? And I'm reading this directly from the PlayStation blog. So if you're not familiar with FBC Firebreak, it's a cooperative first-person shooter for 3 players set within a mysterious federal agency under assault by extra-dimensional forces in the iconic Control universe. Iconic's a bit far. Bit of a stretch, isn't it? Is it iconic? It's that one game, right? Like, I mean, granted, you could class Alan Wake as being in the Control universe. Oh, weird that it's not like the... I thought it was just a Remedy verse. Iconic's a bit much. Anyway, battle through hordes of otherworldly monsters with up to 2 friends. Customize your gear and level up as you fight back against this ever-growing threat. Ooh. Now, what they're saying is with this one is that FBC Firebreak is slated for release in summer 2025 for PlayStation 5 with day one availability for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members. And there's going to be plenty more to learn about this as time goes on. Ooh, very excited. I mean, it's always nice when we get something fresh and new into the store. And this is something then that me and the boys can play on a Thursday night and dive into, right? And just experience. So we'll see. I'll hold judgment for now. It does look nice. Graphically, it looks nice. And seeing kind of some of the familiar kind of enemies and environments that are in Control is great. I think for me, what makes Control so interesting is having like, telekinesis and having these kind of crazy ass fire powers, which aren't obviously going to be here, I imagine. They're all about having, you got these like upgrades and these alternate artifacts you can add into your gun. We'll see. I mean, there's this kind of like PvE kind of extraction style kind of shooter has been done like a million fucking times. Now at this point, it's not really that new. So we'll have to see. It just needs, the gameplay needs to hook people for it to really stand out from its competition. And that's one of those things you don't know until you put the controller in your hand. Wait and see, but very interesting nonetheless. Now I got 2 little blasts from the pasts here for you. A twofer in these newly announced games. In that Painkiller has been revealed. Now Saber Interactive in 3D Realms. 3D fucking Realms! Still going. I never thought 3D Realms was still a thing. Like, I knew they were bored, but, I wouldn't have thought you'd hear the name again. 3D Realms, obviously famous for the Duke Nukem franchise. Well, that's how I know them. Anyway, they're developing a brand new game based on a legendary 2004 shooter, Painkiller, coming to PC and consoles in fall 2025. Now, this looks fucking awesome. There's a full kind of trailer for this. It's about 46 seconds long. And it's fucking Doom and Duke Nukem. That's all it is. That's all you need to know. Like, old school, kind of just destroying shit, run and gun, blasting things. But the cool thing about it is that it's co-op, which is sick, which makes it great. It's fucking Doom with co-op. Awesome. Like, what more do you need, right? Like, I cannot fucking wait to see some more of this. And that's going to be one of those things that we're going to see. Obviously, this was shown at the Future Games show, which happened a week or so ago at the point of this recording. It's going to be one of those things that we're going to see time and time again now, because it's only coming out in fall of this year. And I'm all for it, right? Like, this Metal Eden, what a fucking great time to be alive, right? To have these kind of just gameplay first experiences. And yeah, I'm all for this. So this is certainly one to watch. This is on my wank bank list for damn sure. And following that, another blast from the past, and one that I'm actually quite ashamed I've never experienced at all, is System Shock 2. So there's a 25th anniversary remaster launching June 26th for PS5 and PS4. Now, Night Dive Studios have been working on this for a number of years. And there's a massive post on the PlayStation blog where you can find all the information about what they've done and the kind of enhancements and how they've had to look back at it and try and retain what was there originally and not play. And as somebody who's a massive fan of Bioshock, it's wild that I've never played System Shock or System Shock 2 because they're so influential on Bioshock, obviously coming from the creative genius of Ken Levine. So this is one for me that it depends on what's out, right? Like I haven't played System Shock 1 and it's going quite cheap at the moment, so I probably will pick it up when the time is right, after I'm done with RoboCop and all that stuff. We'll wait and see, but I think this is interesting. It's a seminal game. It's a classic, like an absolute bona fide classic. People will say things are classics, like fucking, maybe Remedy would say Control's a classic. I certainly wouldn't. But System Shock 2 is a classic, and it's a black hole, a black spot on my gaming past that I need to rectify at some point. Will that be this year? Jury's out. But for those that are interested, depending on what's around in June, this might be something to put on your wish list, ladies and gentlemen. And the final piece, the final thing I'm going to talk about today on these new game announcements is Cronos, the New Dawn. Holy shit. So there was a full kind of gameplay overview video that went up from the development team behind this. Now, this is being done by Bloober Team. Obviously, you know them from Silent Hill 2 remake. It's coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC in 2025. Now, as part of this video, right, immediately, when I first started watching it, I was kind of getting a bit worried because it was giving me... Oh, what's that fucking game? Oh my god. It's like as if my mind is protecting me and I keep tormenting it by refreshing my memory on it. Give me just a sec. Give me just a sec. Now, when I first saw this, it reminded me, and this isn't a good comparison, reminded me of the Callisto Protocol. I was thinking, oh no. Oh, no. I've been down this road before. I've seen something that's got me fucking proper erect, and then it's just not delivered the goods, just not come through. It's like where women will be wearing those like fucking chicken fillets in the bra, right? And you're thinking, oh my god, they got a great rack, it's going to be awesome. Take the bra off and you're like, oh no, they're gone. Oh no. Oh, the goodies. The goodies are gone. It could well be that kind of situation like Callisto Protocol was, where everything leading up to its release was just speaking to me so hard. I mean, listen to these inspirations these devs reel off, right? It's inspired by The Thing, one of the best films of all time. Dead Space. And Dark Souls in terms of challenge. Fuck me, man. Hitting the fucking hat trick, dude. Like, what the hell? Now, this game, right, is an alternate history game. So it's set in the world's kind of ended in the 80s from a devastating event called The Change. And from that, you're playing as a traveler in this post-apocalypse world. You jump back in time to extract important individuals who didn't survive that apocalypse. That's the kind of top level what you're doing. And that sounds cool, right? Now, the design of the Traveler himself is a bit weird. It's kind of like, gives me Alien vibes in the way that it's like very like, it's very H.R. Geiger-esque. Like, the front of the spacesuit mask looks almost like a vagina. It's very fucking Geiger-y. And I vibe with it. I think it looks cool, right? And what they're saying is the Traveler isn't like a typical soldier, more like a diver in time. Now, other bits of news that came from this, you can use melee, so punch or stomp on monsters. That's that Dead Space coming back, as well as use a ranged weapon. The monsters' creatures are called the Orphans, as they're what's left of humanity, and they can take different forms, but the developers were very clear that they wanted everything to be that looks like it could come from a human. So it's not going to be like, it might be out there, but you could see kind of how the flesh could be mangled and melded in a certain way. And I think that's really, really cool. And I suppose that goes back to, its influence with The Thing being a body horror kind of trope with this. And I think that's cool, man. Now, when, obviously they say about Dead Space influence, they got the stomp in there and a punch, very Dead Spacey. they were all asked, is there a dismemberment system? And they said there is. But they said they were like, oh, we've done it very differently. We'll wait and see. Now, the one thing that seems evident from the trailer is that fire seems to be the key thing, right? Just like the Thing, I suppose that to kill that is fire, right? And so it kind of seems to be going in that way. Like the bullets that he was firing seem to be like kind of incendiaries. And there was like a kind of ground stomp move that put like a little wave of fire out. So it may well be that you can bust stuff up, but it will come back until you burn it. Maybe that's how it works. I'm not sure. There is going to be a proper gameplay trailer where they're going to go in depth on this soon, they're saying. But from what I'm seeing at the moment, this looks fucking awesome. Like, really, really fucking cool. And this had been shown before, apparently like an Xbox event, and I just hadn't seen it. So this was my first kind of introduction to this game. And all I can say, audience, is if you're into survival horror like myself, this is one to keep an eye on, for damn sure. I mean, Bloober Team are hit and miss, but with the... Hopefully they've just kind of kept the cadence from coming out of Silent Hill 2 Remake to going straight into this. Hopefully they've got some magic sauce going, because at the moment what I'm seeing is this is fucking saucy as hell. And as I said, I've been down this road before. Callisto Protocol burned me. You know, I was so hyped on it, and it just turned out to be very meh. This could well be the same thing, but what a year we got in store for survival horror. You know? Cronos looks great. Midnight Walk looks fucking fantastic, as I've said many, many times. And at some point we're going to have Tormented Souls 2. Jesus Christ. What a fucking year, man. It's going to be great. And maybe this is the year that I step back into the survival horror reviews on YouTube. You never know, right? Maybe this is what's gonna pull me over the line. I'll be getting into it. But that is stuff for another day. Obviously, I've covered off a load of games here. There was another section where PlayStation announced a load of indies that were on the PlayStation blog. They all look cool, but nothing really I want to talk about at this point. But I'm sure that we'll see more as time goes on. And that brings our show to a close. So, audience, the final couple of things for me, really, is that I want to say, first off, thank you for joining me on this one-man expedition into the unknown. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's not been a waste of your time, because I really don't want to just be talking for the sake of talking. I like the sound of my own voice. Of course I do. I wouldn't do a podcast otherwise. But I want to make sure I add some value. So just let me know. Yeah, I'd be brutally honest. You know, I can take it. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But if you have enjoyed it, there's a couple of ways you can show that kind of support. Of course, you can reach out to us on Twitter. At SSJ Davey is me. The podcast itself is at In PS We Trust. You can hit us up on the email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Or, and this is the best way, to be honest, go on to Spotify or anywhere that you receive your podcasts and put a 5-star rating on. It all really helps us grow the show and find a larger audience, and I'll be eternally grateful for you. If you're on YouTube, then hi. Then remember, put a like, subscribe if you're not already, and share with anyone that you may know. Hopefully there's something in here that you enjoyed. And yeah, hopefully I'll hear from you guys for the next episode, and I can include some of your questions in, because the band is back together. Myself, Phil, Spence, coming back strong, coming back with that good shit for you in just a couple of weeks' time, where we will have the big quiz, where we will reign a new king, which will then bring on a whole new range of impressions or whatever that king decides to inflict on us all for the next 10 episodes. And, of course, bragging rights for the king, which is a big deal. So, only 2 weeks to go till then. I hope you have a lovely time. I hope you have a lovely couple of weeks. And I look forward to seeing you back here on episode 111 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. I have been Davey. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Take care. In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.